So, welcome back to another YouTube video. I know that E3 was actually a thing that had just finished. Well, it hasn't really exactly finished. There's still people that are going to be staying at the events because it runs for a little while longer than the presentations. But as far as the presentations are concerned, they are completely done and finished for now. And on a completely off topic, in case you're wondering why I'm wearing this, I went and applied at a jewelry store, so I went and got dressed up. The only thing I forgot to do was shave. My hair was nice until I went and did that, and I kind of messed it up. But that's not what you guys are here for. You're here to listen to me talk about some other stuff that should actually be mentioned. Now, there was a video that was made not that long ago, about a week ago. I was supposed to be taking the entire week off because I kind of overdone it on some stuff. So I'm just working out the kinks and stuff, but it was an E3 video. It was explaining what was going on with Sony's presentation. But today, what we are going to do is we are going to do a all-inclusive video of every presentation that I've seen. So we have EA, we have Nintendo, we have Sony, we have Microsoft, we have our favorite Ubisoft. Yeah, we have every console, and then we have Bethesda as the sixth. Now, starting things off, we're going to start from the bottom of the list, and we're going to work ourselves up here to the top. The bottom of the list, sorry Bethesda, but you kind of underdone it this year. Now that I've got that out of the way, the reason why I say they've underdone it this year is actually because they more or less did a Nintendo Direct. Same with Sony. What I mean by Nintendo Direct is they just show clips the entire time. They don't talk about nothing. They don't bring anybody on stage to talk about their games. They just go, show these clips. They have their CEO talk maybe about 5 or less minutes about this. And then they're on to the next. Now, these shows, Sony is actually the only one that had about an hour to an hour and a half for their presentation. Nintendo got cut short, so they had to condense all their stuff to 30 minutes. Bethesda, 30 minutes. 30 minutes for EA. 30 minutes for everybody except for Sony and Microsoft, pretty much. But with Bethesda, they went and did this entire Nintendo Direct approach. They didn't do a lot of talking about the new stuff coming out. They had a few things that we could have got hyped off of, like Wolfenstein. But what really got me is the fact that they are creating VR games. Doom is actually a really good idea. We know how Resident Evil did, being a full-fledged gamey game that you could play in VR, that you didn't have to go and spend that extra little bit of money for essentially a Nintendo Switch case. At least they got that going for them. But anyways, moving on from that, they did that. Doom was the only good VR that we've seen. The other VRs that they had brought up were pretty much to the point of, we're just going to rebrand this game. We're going to lower the graphics. We're going to go back to the PS3, the 360, and the original PC game. We're just going to go and flip this over. We're going to add in motion controls, and that's going to be it. Now, what doesn't make sense to me is the Nintendo Switch version is a upgrade from the VR version. Now, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, why would you upgrade that and not upgrade the VR? Now, what they did with the VR, they kept the motion controls just like we have the Joy-Con for the Nintendo Switch. So they relatively do the same thing. You go like this with your Joy-Con, you lift your shield. Fairly simple and straightforward stuff, right? Well, apparently not. Because for the main fact, amiibos are going to be incorporated into Skyrim for the Nintendo Switch, which means you can dress up your character as Link, which means you're going to get some awfully rare, legendary gear from that game just for having an amiibo. Just for spending $15, you get all this cool stuff. That's pretty nice, right? Then we have the VR. It's the exact same thing, minus the entire amiibo support. So it's essentially a downgraded Switch version that's virtual. And they're going to flip another $80 Canadian price tag onto it. Same with Fallout 4. So they're just rebranding it, reselling an old game, and it's pretty much, we're at that point again. I get with Nintendo Switch, they wanted third party. They got third party. At least they added something new to it, but that just went and bit the dust, so to speak. Then later on, they were talking about their new games. Not really much new IP. That's kind of one of the downfalls of the entire thing. They didn't really do much. They pretty much just went and wasted a lot of money on an auditorium when they could have just done it digitally from their headquarters. It's one of those moments that makes you want to scratch your head. Now, that is our bottom 6 seed. So out of the 6, Bethesda's bottom. Now we have Sony coming in. Sony, once again, Nintendo Direct. But with a twist. Audio was not working for the first 2.5 trailers. Now, the most hyped games that they had, we had no good audio for it. We had theater audio. Whoever's camera had the speaker on it, that is who we were picking up the audio from, and that's what was getting transmitted. Now, they were showing the screen. They had screen capture. But for some reason, they had a monkey running their board and started hitting buttons. They started panning out to the wrong cameras. They started giving the wrong cameras to the viewers. Now, I was watching on Mixer, because if you don't know, last week, Rare Replay was being given out free. I already had Replay, so that didn't really affect me. But it was getting handed out free. I was watching there. There was Mixer, which was a few seconds behind Twitch. Actually, it was about 10 seconds behind Twitch. And then we had YouTube, which was falling way behind Mixer and Twitch, both combined. So, they were having audio errors, they were having visual errors with what camera should we use. They had Spider-Man Homecoming, one of the most anticipated games that they had. They messed up on the audio again. They started playing the trailer before the screen actually came and slid out. That happened. They had camera errors. They had one minor faux pas of their CEO actually talking. That was only one spot. He didn't do a whole lot of talking, but my main issue is they pretty much wasted money. They could have done something sort of like Xbox did, where they had all this fun and glorious stuff that we could look at. No, they just went and did this, showed us trailer after trailer after trailer. The games were good. The issue is whoever was running soundboard and running the camera board. Now, those are the two biggest flaws in that entire thing. It just seemed sort of like I was watching a YouTube video the entire time. Just a person displaying the video, not talking or anything. Just video, done. End of discussion. I would have been fine if they had like a questionnaire at the very end where they take questions from the audience. But it's clear that never happened, obviously. And there's a few other press conferences that went on. I couldn't quite get to them due to other commitments, so that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to talk about, but I can't. But anyways, PlayStation literally just shot themselves in the foot. Another thing I want to bring up is a VR set is $600 in Canada with all the hookups. That's what I originally thought, but when I was looking at the thing, you still have to go and buy the console. I don't have a PS4, so I could spend an extra $250 Canadian. Actually, no, it's not. It's $300 Canadian. My bad. $300 to $350 Canadian to $400 if I'm getting the Pro, just on that alone. Then you have the VR coming at $600 with all the hookups so that you can use it on your PS4 with the motion things, with DualShock or motion sensors, and then you have the camera that shows where your VR headset is looking. Now that's $600. Now, there are certain games that I'd like to try, like Batman. Who doesn't want to try and be Batman for a couple minutes? But that wasn't actually there. There wasn't another Batman game announced by anyone. My issue is the Final Fantasy and the side-scroller. That was one of my biggest upsets of the entire thing, was those two happening. Now, we know that side-scrollers is kind of what Metroid and Super Mario were originally. Now you're spending $600 on a VR headset, plus the additional $300 to $400 for your PS4, just to play a side-scroller? Yeah, not buying it. And also, Final Fantasy. I was hoping we were going to get a trailer for the 7 remake. But no, what did we get? Final Fantasy 15 Fishing Edition. Reeling in all those likes I can see. Yeah, that's literally what we got, was fishing, a side-scroller, games that had already released, and then we had a few new IPs that actually came and made an appearance. One of them being a horror game called Inpatient. Now, the other thing I've kind of seen from this game is actually it's kind of a play on words with the title. Because technically you're supposed to be staying in a room. It's kind of like that one PewDiePie episode, essentially. You're supposed to be staying in the one room. You're being impatient. Impatient. Not impatient. Impatient. You are already an inpatient. You are patient. You are trying to escape. Now, if you're a horror game fanatic, you'd want to get that and Doom. So, there's that stuff they showed, and really, the VR aspect is going to end up like the Vita. If they don't pull out something new that's really a gamey game, that's a brand new IP, they need a triple AA game. Triple AAA game, my mistake, to make an appearance on the VR. We did not see that. We got all these weird stuff. New IPs are absolutely bonkers. They only had like one of them that was actually interesting. And then you have the horror game, which I might play one day. And then you have the other two, which is completely left field. Nobody really actually cares about. So moving on. Sony, ranked number 5. Now, we are moving on to EA Sports. Because I can guarantee that was at least half the conference. Now, anybody that knows me, I play a lot, and I mean a lot, of EA NHL 17. Pretty much slapped the NHL tag on it, and I'm pretty much already played it. But anyways, that game, non-existent. EA completely conveniently forgot all about its existence, and it was filled with cringe moments. Now you may be asking,
Why did you go and put it above Sony if it was that cringy? And same with Bethesda. Why is it that high?
The main reason being is I'm kind of biased on that aspect, I guess. Don't get me wrong, I do love Sony, but they had so many flaws in their presentation. They managed to pull it together. I mean, it was great for the visual aspect, but it's not really great for getting me sucked in, sort of deal. But EA, we had Need for Speed Payback, which looks amazing, by the way. And then we had Jesse Wellens, and his teleprompter failed, so he had to try and wing it, and he was getting a little confused. Now, if I was him, what I would have said is, I'm a YouTube creator, I'm here to talk about Need for Speed Payback. And if you don't already know about this game, this entire game is pretty much based on what you think it would be. It is an open world game. Now what we are here to look at behind me is customization, and later on, after I speak to my friend Nick, we will be going and seeing some live gameplay of Need for Speed. That is what I would have said, but he ended up fumbling, and I can honestly tell I'm not standing in front of a group of people, so I don't know how that would have gone over. But he fumbled, he came back, he pulled it through. They finished that. Oh boy, did they ever finish that. But, anyways, moving on from that, then we had Battlefront 2. This is a remake of the original Battlefront 2. They are going by the same name. Are they going to be the same thing? Not at all. And they actually had the actress, voice actress, I may add, / actress because they had her in a mocap suit for doing this stuff, actually presenting that. Now that was a key seller. Actually having the person that's the main character in a game actually talking to you. Holy crap. How much money would I have to pay to have Master Chief just show up to my graduation? I would have paid a lot of money just for that to happen. I'm here. I need a weapon. Just takes my chair and just starts walking off with it. We get the point. But anyways, they had her coming in being the focal point. They brought in John Boyega, who is Finn from the game. He announced a couple of key things. Now, I suggest you go and watch it because I'm not going to get into that stuff. But, free DLC. Yes! That's a big thing. Now, the other thing I want to bring up about this before it comes to a close, for that portion, is No Way Out. It is a split-screen co-op game. Now, it is couch co-op, and that's where some people got confused. They're like, so I can only play it at home on my couch? No, that is not what they said. You can also play it online with a friend, which means you're not stuck there. But the only thing is you can see both screens at that same point in time. There is no one screen here, one screen over there. It is one combined screen. When your character is in a cinematic, the other character can move around freely at certain points in the game. Now, there are going to be certain points where you're both watching the cinematic, so that is one of the things that you have to bear with me through. But EA did a good job of their presentation. They had a couple of cringe moments that people were going and scratching their heads about. The funniest part is they even admitted that Battlefront 1 was a mistake. With what was a constructive criticism. Yeah, it was constructive, alright. Not really. But anyways, they are ranked at number 4. Number 3 is Nintendo. Now, Nintendo did their Nintendo Treehouse, Nintendo Direct sort of thing. We're all used to Nintendo Direct by now. They showed off a lot of new stuff. When I say a lot, I mean a lot within their 30 minutes. Everybody else had an hour or more for a console company. They 30 minutes, they were done. Holy crap, there was a lot of information in there. We're getting 2 new Metroid games, new Pokemon game. Yeah. New Yoshi game. We are getting a new Super Mario game. Super Mario Odyssey. We are also getting another Mario game on top of that. I'll talk about that as soon as I get to that spot, because that's actually the number 1 area. So we already know who that is. Spoilers. Spoiler alert. We're getting all this cool stuff. It was great. I got the stuff that I wanted to see, and now I know Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is coming out. And Trainer Strat Guy, if you're watching this, when I get my Nintendo Switch, I'm going to play that game more than you. Challenge accepted. Had to do the Grumpy Cat face, because why not? But I'm running out of time here on my phone, so I gotta speed things up here. So, Nintendo, absolutely great. They filled a lot of stuff. We're getting a lot of new games, most of which we already know were coming, but about 75% of it are actually coming this year, not at a later date. Now, moving on to Xbox. What can I say about Microsoft? They said, we need more exclusives, is what we were telling them. So Phil Spencer's like, I know just what to do. 22 exclusive games. Now, 90% of which are actually games that are console-timed exclusives, which means they will be coming to Xbox first, and then possibly other platforms, or Xbox and the other PC. And some have been on PC, but they're coming first to Xbox, like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. That will be coming to PS4, to my knowledge, but first, Xbox is getting it, so you guys might have to wait a little bit longer if you're a PS4 player. So, there's that. We've seen more Anthem gameplay. Now this looks exactly like what was actually proposed, and this is an EA game. I skipped it in the other